welcome to the latest version of the Manchester's Blues show. 2 in a week. We've not done that for a while, have we? Who would have thought it with no football to talk about either?
Gotta do something.
Absolutely, pal. It's saving off boredom. My wife's just started working from home now, so that's both of us working off the same kitchen counter. So I'm chomping at the bit to get out the house into the garage and do some of this. But I must say, lads, you three are wearing three of probably my favourite shirts. So I've got a good trio of shirts there, lads. So well done, you guys. What I'm going to do, we're going to start this off. So we've got a bit of an agenda today. The first thing we're going to talk about is I'm going to do a bit of a quiz. So I want you guys to have a think about this. This is a player, so we're going to do who am I? So are you ready to start?
Yep.
So this player started. I don't want answers yet. Just have a think about it. Write them down, and we'll talk about it at the end. So this player started off playing for Lincoln City, then moved on to Newcastle. Then to Coventry, then to Leeds, then to City, then to Norwich, and he finished his career at the San Jose Earthquakes in the MLS. Right, so I want you to have a good think about that. I'll give it again later. So have a good think. There's no prizes apart from pride. So we'll talk about that later on. But yeah, I wanted to have a quick chat about today's statement that came out from all elite leagues in the division. Chris, what date did he say it was? What date was the 30th
of April?
30th of April, they're going to start kicking up again on the football side of things. So, I mean, Steve, from your point of view, can you see the league starting again? Obviously, they've moved the Euros now, haven't they?
Yeah, I think I was just watching on. Boris is doing his thing every day, and he reckons it's going to be 12 weeks. I think it's going to be a lot longer than that, if I'm honest. Personally, no, I can't see it starting. We're only just at the start of this virus now. I don't really want to talk about it, but we're only at the start of it. It's just going to get worse. I can't see it. 30th of April, I can't see it personally.
Do you think they're just putting that statement out there to stop all the questions coming? We'll give you another date.
There'll be another meeting, and then I think that'll be final answer will be then. I think this was just to keep all the clubs happy, saying they've all still got a chance, blah 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 blah. I think the be all and end all of it is, it is just going to get worse and worse. Unfortunately, the numbers are going up every day by quite a lot. More people are self-isolating. I think it's just to keep the fans on their toes, really.
What do you reckon, Adam? How do you think this is going to be taken by the majority of the clubs? Do you think they're going to be happy with this, or I suppose they've not got any choice about it, have they? Really?
No, it's obviously a hard situation for everyone involved. It obviously goes beyond football, which for obviously avid fans, a lot of things rarely do that. It has to be taken with the utmost severity, and if it doesn't, it'll get a lot worse. The only positive thing for me at the moment is to see what's happening in China. It seems to be coming to a bit of a halt there, so that gives me some optimism to the date that they stated today. Looking at it optimistically, if we do match that date, we'll have Premier League football in the middle of the summer, which I think for me will be a great substitute. But honestly, there's too much uncertainty to speak with any certainty at this point.
Yeah, so here's a couple of one-liners from the FA's rules and regulations. State that the season shall terminate no later than the 1st of June, and each competition shall, within the limit laid down by the FA, determine the length of its own playing season. However, the FA's board has agreed for this limit to be extended indefinitely for the 2019-20 season in relation to professional football, which is always going to. There's going to be so. I mean, we won't talk about the virus. We had a bit of a rule on the last pod on Monday that we don't talk about the virus, so we'll kind of glaze over this, but we're kind of intertwining it with this subject of the postponement, because it's obviously it matters to all of us. But if you look at this from the FA's shoe, I, for one, would not like to be anywhere near the person that decides what happens next, because this is an absolute legal minefield. And that's what the FA and the FA board will be looking at now, isn't it? They'll be going away, talking to solicitors and lawyers. They'll be doing the whole kit and caboodle, talking to the teams. How can we get out of this in the easiest possible way without I was going to say hurting anybody. But let's face it, Chris, welcome to the show, pal, firstly. But from Chris, that point of view, this is going to hurt somebody. Somebody's going to be miffed with whatever's decided.
Yeah, obviously the ones from our point of view, obviously the Liverpool fans will be up in arms if it wasn't the point. But I think my concern is for the teams much lower down in the league. I know I've already issued. I don't think they've ever done that. The lower leagues that are going to suffer the most. I was going to speak on Talking Balls the other night about it. To me, if you look at the season, it's just a collection of games. If you were to play one match, I remember years ago going to the City and Switch. They started the match and it was torrential rain. And at 1-1, the referee just called the game and said, "Look, that's it. It was match abandoned, and it had to be replayed from start." And I know there's other games. There's Dennis Law. Years ago, he scored like 5-6 goals in one match, and then in like the 60th, 70th minute, it was abandoned because of the weather. We had to replay the entire game. So the question is, do you do that with this season? You know, we're only 75% of the way through it. 10 games left. Do you just do it for the whole board? Because it's not just the teams at the top who are missing out promotion or Europe, or the teams that can get relegated. Every single position gets a financial reward at the end of the season. And for the lower clubs, that's the difference between them playing next year and not playing. So, I honestly think we'll go well into the summer this year over here. I can't see much football being played until sort of June, July. And then it's a question of, is it safe to get the games done before the start of next season, or are they going to delay next season? Compress matches? Are they going to write next season off altogether and have like a prolonged? You know, it's like I said. I wouldn't want to be the man making the decision. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near him. Or
no, absolutely.
But you've got to feel sorry for him at the minute. People's lives are more important.
Chris, I'm just struggling to hear you a little bit, Chris. I don't know if you can hold the microphone a bit close to your mouth, pal. Sorry, pal. I'm just struggling to hear you. You keep cutting in and out. Just say that again.
Yeah, to me, it's people's livelihoods, and at the end of the day, it's people's lives. It's the financial, it brings to them. I know a lad who's playing for Halifax Town, and if he was to go a few months without wages because they can't afford it, that's, players at that level still have mortgages.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of teams up in Scotland that are asking for financial aid from the government, which you can rightly understand, can't you? Because they're not earning the thousands that they're in the Premier League. So yeah, no, really good point now. So we'll move on. We'll keep the page updated when we hear something. One thing I wanted to talk about tonight is I don't know, Adam or Chris that mentioned this is obviously players that are moving on and areas that we need to strengthen. I think that's an obvious one. It comes into a little bit of the transfers as well. So players we've got leaving this year. Obviously David Silva jumps to mind massively. Who's the other player that's out of contract this year? There's one more player. I can't remember. Bravo and Silva are out of contract this year. Well, hey, bonus points there, I suppose, for Bravo. We're going to be talking a bit more about our goalkeepers later on. We're going to do a review of our goalkeepers, so we can kind of merge that into this.
Good.
Can you three see Bravo extending a contract?
No.
I'll rephrase that, and Chris just jumped in there. Do you want him to extend a contract?
Absolutely not. He's one of those players that Pep seems to have had a soft spot for over the years. He brought him in, obviously, to perform the role that Ederson's doing so well now. I think absolutely categorically Pep's biggest failure was Claudio Bravo. He's not getting any younger. He's definitely not getting any better. He'll go down as a bit of a cult hero for his cup performances, and I think that deserves, obviously, a bit of a mention in terms of the City annals of history. But outside of that, realistically, where we're looking to move forward, he cannot be a part of the bigger picture, surely.
So Claudio Bravo goes on the cup wall of fame, then, does he?
Yeah,
I can't say anything else from him because I think I said to you the other day that I was listening on Audible to to a book with Pep and things, and you know, Bravo was like third choice for the keeper before Ederson. You know, Ter Stegen was first, but he couldn't get here because his girlfriend got rejected into Manchester University. That deal was pretty much done. And then we moved on to Leno, who decided to choose Arsenal over us. And then it was, yeah, let's go get Claudio Bravo. But I mean, I've said before as well, his wages are ridiculous for pretty much playing, like 4 or 5 games a season, maybe.
Yeah.
So that would be a bit of a bonus when he leaves as well.
It's a really good shout, actually. Yeah, I suppose the question is then, who are you looking at to strengthen in that position? Because if he goes, then obviously we need a backup for him. Do we go for an academy player?
So you've got the American lad that we just got last summer, I think, who's on loan at the moment. I think he'll just come back in. He seemed really good for what we pay for him. So about 7.5 mil, something like that, something along those lines.
In the grand scheme of things, it wasn't wrong.
No, still a young lad as well. So yeah, I can see him popping back in. I think.
Muric.
We need to. Yes, Muric, and then there's another lad as well. That I can't remember that American guy's name. I really can't remember who he is. But yeah, he's.
What's his name?
It seems a shame that we let Angus Gunn go. It seemed at one point that he was going to be a top prospect for England. I know he joined the Southampton team. And started gaining a little bit of Premier League experience, not doing too well this, but he always seemed like a bright prospect, and it never hurts to have English players in the squad, you know, with financial fair play. So I was a bit upset that he left. Haven't seen too much of Muric, to be honest. I think I saw a few games of him in an American tour we did once. But to be honest, with Ederson in the team, realistically, it's not that much of a significant role to fill. So I'd be happy to see a youngster come in who looks a little bit promising, who can learn off Ederson. But Ederson himself's only young. How old is he? 25?
26. 26. Yeah.
So he's not going anywhere anytime soon. So I don't think it's too much.
That guy's name for reference is Zach Steffen, and he's 24. Already had 15 caps for America as well.
Where's he playing at the minute? Where did he go out on loan to?
He is at Dusseldorf.
Right, okay, with Uwe Rosler.
Yeah. So obviously that was a bit of a
connection there. Yeah.
I'm just looking at his stats and everything, and he looks pretty decent.
How many games he played for Dusseldorf?
He has.
You know what? I was supposed to be going to watch Dusseldorf on a stag do in a few weeks, but obviously that's been kiboshed. Fuming.
Yeah, I went to Germany and watched Leverkusen a couple of months back on a stag do. Brilliant. Let's say, just trying to see what he's. I don't know if he's number 1 or not, though. That's the thing. He hasn't played too many.
He's only getting game time. I mean, we've obviously got Muric. This what's his surname? Sorry, Zach.
Yeah, it's.
What was his surname? Sorry, Steve.
I'm just trying to. I had it there just a second ago.
Yeah, don't worry. Is there anyone outside of the City realm that you'd want to come in as a number 2? Are there any journeymen in the league that you think, you know what, they're missing a trick there? They should be playing. They could be our cup goalkeeper, because that's what they're coming into, isn't it? If they're a decent keeper, they're coming in to be our cup keeper. So we need them to be decent.
Definitely don't think it's Scott Carson.
Scott Carson's just there for the English, you know, for the count of the English players, and but he's getting paid a lot more.
Playing the right role.
Yeah. If we didn't have Ederson, I know it's a bit sort of out there, but if we didn't have Ederson, I would have that Henderson from Sheffield United. I know he's at United.
Do you know what, mate? That's a really good shout.
But I would have him if we didn't have Ederson. We know my feelings on Ederson, so
yeah, no, Henderson's in my fantasy football team. He's a cracking shot stopper, and they've had a really good season this year. Sheffield up to now, so that's a really good shout, pal. And it worries me a little bit that obviously De Gea's form is dipping. and it's not been great since old I can't send my fax gate, has it? And he's got a couple of $100,000 a week at United. But I can see Henderson going back to United, and I can see him being the number one, and that concerns me a little bit. Yeah, so he can do well. How old is Henderson? Got to be mid-20s, hasn't he? Young to mid-20s.
He's only about 24, isn't he? Something like that.
Yeah. You'd ask the question, if you were Henderson, would you come to City? And you probably wouldn't, just because of our number 31.
No. Yeah, no one in the world's getting in front of Ederson. It's not happening.
What would you give? Let's try and think out of 10 then. Let's try and mark our goalkeepers. So, Chris, what would you class Bravo out of 10 for his performances this season?
Honestly, I know he's won stuff in the cup, but I wouldn't even rate him as one of our better cup goalkeepers. I'd put Pantilimon and Caballero above him, so I'd probably rate him a generous 6.
A generous 6. All right, okay. What do you reckon? Adam?
I think I'd go even lower than that. Watching him in the League Cup final recently against Aston Villa, very little to do all game. The one shot he had to stop, the header, he failed to do. And to be honest, he didn't do too much wrong. I think it's more to do with his stature and his physical presence. There's only so much that he can actually counter for in terms of agility when he doesn't have the physical stature of a goalkeeper, of an Ederson, someone like that. And so I think I never feel comfortable with him in net. Never happy to see him on the team sheet. Considering what he cost us in the early games, going a whole month without saving a single shot, I'd give him a 3.
Steve?
I've never rated him, so yeah, maybe 3, 2.5.
I'm going to say for the way he makes me feel when he's got the ball at his feet, purely a 4, 4.5, and then even then, my heart is coming out of my chest. And the only reason I'm giving him a 4.5, and he's got that extra half point, is for that save he made in the final. Because I have never felt my heart bang so much as that save when he hit it onto the post. And do you know what? That was one of the loudest cheers in the stadium that afternoon when he saved that. So that 0.5, Claudio, is for that save, pal. So thank you very much for that. And right, okay, so this is going to be a bit of an easy one now, because Ederson. He's coming on the back of a couple of mistakes against United, but keepers make mistakes. Not as many as Bravo, granted. So, Steve, I'm going to ask you to rate your love child out of 10, and I'm expecting this no less than an 8.
I'd go 9.5 because there's still improvement.
Okay,
but not too much. He does have a little mistake in him, but I said in the other podcast, I don't think the defence in front of him helped in that game, if I'm honest. So, yeah, it'd be 9.5, room for improvement from me.
Okay. Chris, what are you thinking?
I'd say 9, because at his age, he's got another 5-6 years before he's even reached his prime. So, a solid 9 for me.
A solid 9. Adam?
For me, purely because I believe he is the best goalkeeper in world football today. I believe in the effect he has on the team when we are able to give it to him and rely when we play it back to him. What that adds to the whole style of play, how central that is to Pep's whole philosophy, and what in the knock-on effect has meant we've been able to accomplish as a team. I wouldn't like to put a number on it because I love him. I love him like a member of my family. He's absolutely my favourite Manchester City goalkeeper of all time. If I had to put a number on it, it would be 10. But that even then doesn't do my justice for how much I love.
10. I'm taking your first answer. 10.
Adam, you'd have a private conversation, mate, about Ederson.
I could do a whole podcast, you two, on him. Yeah, mine's a 9 easy. The thing I'm asking myself now is, right, okay, he's got 3 9s, a 9.5, and a 10. That's an awfully good rating. What's going to get him to that 10 right across the board? What for you can he do to, apart from making a last-minute save in the Champions League final? What could he? How can he reach that 10 in his career? The next season, if I'm asking you this question in the next season, what's he have got to have done to have got to 10s across the board?
Probably becomes his own number 1.
Say again.
To me, it's got to be Brazil's number one. Because at the minute, he's number two. Isn't he?
Yeah, he's just behind Alisson, isn't he? Yeah, I think that, and just I don't think it's anything to do with his ability that would push it up for me. I think, yeah, if he becomes Champions League winner, you know, another Premier League winner, or as Chris just said, getting that number one spot from Alisson. I mean, that would mean a lot to him, considering, you know, he's fighting for the top spot of Brazil, but it would also be getting over someone who he fights for year in, year out in the Premier League as well. So I think that would also be a confidence booster as well, more than anything else.
Yeah. Hey. Welcome on board, Daniel. How we doing, pal?
Not too bad, lads. How are you all doing?
We're good. We're just discussing the review our players. Excuse me. We're just reviewing our position of the week. So we're going for goalkeepers this week. I just want to bring on a point a bit about Adam. What you were saying there about we're talking about Ederson at the minute, Dan, and Adam's just made a really good point about his ratings and how he feels about him, and he's such a catalyst for the way Pep plays, and the whole team is you can understand why he's so highly rated above why you can understand why Ederson's so highly rated above City fans, because obviously the way Pep plays and the way he's moulded that back line to be so attacking. What's your thoughts on Ederson, Dan?
Exactly that. He's the fundamental factor of the way Pep starts his attacks. We've always been a possessive style team under Pep. He likes to involve every single player in the moves, every defensive player, including Ederson. And yeah, Ederson's that man that, you know, we have a wholehearted trust at the back that we have had for three seasons now. And he's probably the closest figurehead to fill the void in defence that Company left, you know, and having that trust in a goalkeeper like Ederson to play it out and be comfortable on the ball allows the other players in the team to push further up, and he's the catalyst to start and everything. So yeah, he's 1 in a million type goalkeeper, really, because he's such a good goalkeeper as well as an outfield player, if you like.
We're very lucky to have him, aren't we?
Yeah, without a doubt.
And we're very lucky. His girlfriend is shit at English and didn't get into Manchester University.
Yeah.
I assume it was English. Dan, so we're marking out of 10, pal. What's your markings out of 10 for Ederson for this season? Up to now.
For this season, I won't throw him in the United pool because I've always said it was the formation Pep picked for the day. I'd go a 9 this season. You know, he's got us out with some tough fixtures. He's been a hell of a lot better than he has in the past 2 seasons. But you know.
So that's really on par with what we've said. So we've got 4 9s, a 9.5, and a 10. So yeah, I'm happy with that. And Bravo out of 10. How do you think he's performed this season?
Well, you know me, I still think if he had a good run of games, he'll be on the Ballon d'Or list, you know. Nah, don't get me wrong, he's made some cock-ups, but I do still kind of like Bravo. It's not his fault he doesn't fit into the style of play Pep wants. He is a good goalkeeper. I think it's just the extra pressure that he's put on to do everything. This season alone, in the games he's played this season, I'd give him a 7.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the highest we've had. So we got you ready for this, Daniel? We got 2 3s, a 4.5, a 6, and a 7.
Oh, bloody hell, boys! He hasn't been that bad this season compared to the previous 2.
I'll rephrase that. I'll rephrase this question. Would you want him starting the first game back?
Oh God, no. Still giving him a 7. No.
Can I just ask Oliver one question?
Of course, yeah.
As a cup goalkeeper and like as a number 2, would any of you accept Hart back?
Oh no, that ship sailed, mate.
No.
That's a really good question, but I'd rather have Caballero back if I'm honest with you.
Yep.
Mr. Penalty Saver. I'd rather have Caballero back in a heartbeat. No, I think. Do you know what? Is Joe Hart still at Burnley?
Yeah.
I've not heard anything. I'm assuming he's not first team because I've not heard of him for a while.
I've not heard of him since he literally begged on BBC for a new.
Yeah, he's on the bench. It's because they've got Pope, Hart, and then that Bailey Peacock Farrell from Leeds, who's actually a very, very good goalkeeper. And he's not even making the bench. It's Hart and Pope, but Pope just gets in all the time. But yeah, I mean, that Peacock Farrell, I wouldn't mind him as a number 2 for us, honestly.
I don't know.
He's a very, very good goalkeeper.
Yeah, that sounds like I need to do a bit of searching on him then. That's fine. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm surprised Leeds let him go last season, because to keep a Casilla that he got right now, he's awful. But no, Peacock Farrell, if he was English, he'd be talked about like one of the young prospects if he was English. But
Absolutely.
no, I'd have him over Hart.
So we're gonna move on to obviously the postponement of the Euros that goes on to next year now. That actually mirrors alongside the women's Euros as well. So hopefully they can make some kind of large tournament about it. That'd be fantastic if they could do that. But I want to go through our squad and just have a look at who it's going to help with our squad and who it's going to hinder. When I say hinder, I'm thinking who's got age against them where they really needed it to be this year. Does that make sense? So I'm looking straight away in our squad, and I think to myself, well, we've obviously Scott Carson for England. I don't think there's much hopes of him getting called up there. The only possibility of hopes I've got is Ederson's got another year to be able to get as Brazil's number 1. Exactly in the Euros, sorry, for the World Cup. That's the only positive I can see for him for this year. That he's got a good solid year. It's next year. Is it next year the World Cup or 22? It's 22, isn't it?
22. Yeah.
22. Yeah.
So what's Ederson got to do to become Brazil's number 1? I can only personally think it's got to be an injury to the Liverpool keeper. Anyone else?
In my eyes, absolutely nothing.
Yeah, me too.
He is better than Alisson. Like we said in the last podcast, it's just the stats might be a little bit in Alisson's favour this season, just because Liverpool have had a cracking season. But like we said, that's to do with their defence. Apart from that, player to player, Ederson is not £30 million less a player than Alisson.
So thinking selfishly from an England point of view, I look at our defenders. I don't think Kyle Walker would have been chose this season, and John Stones. I think John Stones would have got picked. I don't know. What do you guys think? From a centre back point of view, would you think John Stones would have got picked for centre back this year for Southgate's team?
I don't think he would have made the first 11. I absolutely wouldn't have taken him. I think we've got. I think the only absolute shoe-in for me at the moment is Maguire, just because he has that big tournament experience with Southgate last summer. Not last summer, the summer before, sorry. And then I think for me, it's more of a question of who you're putting around him. Unfortunately for me at the moment, I'd probably put Gomez in there just because he has that experience at the moment of having such a great season with Liverpool. But outside of that, Tomori at Chelsea, I'd put over Stones. Maybe even Mings on his day. You need game time, and John Stones just really isn't performing with the confidence that we've seen him perform with the previous seasons.
Steve, who's the young lad? Sorry, Steve, who's the young lad that you like? I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Dunk. Is he English?
Oh, Lewis Dunk, yeah. Get him in that squad.
Would he take him over Stones?
Absolutely, in a heartbeat.
Would you? Right, okay.
Absolutely, but what I was going to say they were saying that Maguire's done it under Southgate, but then so has Walker as a centre half, because England played a back 3 in the World Cup. And to be honest, the last sort of maybe 5 or 6 games, I thought Walker was back to what we bought him for. So I actually do think that Walker might have made it, and he does have that. Southgate would think, well, hang on a minute, Walker's actually he's not that small, is he? He's about 6 foot.
Yeah, and he's
quick,
rapid.
he's strong. I don't think if he could have, he couldn't differ that much away from the World Cup team, if I'm honest.
No, I completely agree. And for me, is there's out of him and Stones, Walker's the absolute above and beyond for me. And I'm just hoping John Stones. I fear it's going to take a move away for John Stones to get anywhere near the England squad to get that full form back. But I generally can't see him having enough games between now and then to change Southgate's mind. So thinking, are there any other England players that you think should be on the periphery of our defence that should be going in there, apart from Dunk? Is there anyone else that you can think of that potentially City should be looking at as a young English player?
Howard Bellis.
Howard Bellis. All together now.
I think next season I think he might get a few games, like bringing him in more cup games. I think with the way Southgate likes his young players, he might take, whether he'll be in the first team or whether he'll be just as a backup, but I think he could be taken along for the ride of the Euros.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. From a looking at the other nations now, let's look at Spain's squad. You got Eric Garcia and Angelino. Can you see? You've got to see Angelino go with that Spain squad, haven't you? I'm not too sure about Angelino though. Garcia, sorry, go with the Spain squad. Not sure about Angelino. What do you think?
I think Angelino might just scrape it because the loan move to Leipzig seems to have just started to rejuvenate his career again. He's playing very well for him. I don't think
he's getting full. He's playing regular as well.
I think he's only missed one game since moving there.
Right.
He started every other game, and he is doing well. He's getting assists, and he's much more attacking. I think that's why he wasn't fully adapted to City's squad, because we like to play a bit more possession before attack. Leipzig are just all out attack, and it works for him, and they're getting the best out of him. So yeah, I can fully see Angelino going into the squad.
And for Portugal, Cancelo, thoughts? I don't know the squad that well.
I don't think Cancelo's good enough. I think going forward, he's an option for them. I think he looked good in Serie A, which I think kind of has been exposed as a bit of a weaker league this season, with all the English players who failed in the Premier League going over there and performing, the likes of Sanchez and Lukaku, all the other United players that have gone over there and done a half-decent job. Going forward, I really like him as a player, but I think having that defensive mind capabilities, he wouldn't make it for me from what I've seen at City.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. You look at the French nationals in our defence, Laporte and Mendy. They're an absolute shoo-in for next season's squad, barring injury, aren't they? There's not even a hesitation there. Only because Laporte's only just started playing for France, hasn't he? But he'll get in next season, won't he? He surely will. He's got to.
I'm just thinking they're centre half, so there's some strong centre halves, France.
Titty, innit?
I know Didier Deschamps is love Charles Varane. I know he gets in every day of the week.
Kimpembe.
Kimpembe for PSG, isn't it?
He's really shot up. I think in the next 2 years he'll be one of the best centre halves in the world. Really, he's really shot up. He's only 23 as well.
Titi as well, Barcelona.
Lenglet, Barcelona as well.
Yeah, Pavard as well, who's now a centre half. The one that was at Bayern, wasn't he? Or was that Bayern?
So the only positive side for us then is we need to see the absolute best from Laporte week in, week out for him to get anywhere near that squad. So if he wants to be going on the plane, he needs to be performing for us week in, week out, which can only be a positive for us, can't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's Mendy. Well, I mean, Mendy's only got that Furlan Mendy that plays for Madrid. He's the other left back.
Would you see
France?
Would you see Digne getting Everton left back? He's shone at Everton, hasn't he? He's a real big favourite.
He is. I think I would prefer that Furlan Mendy over him. I thought he was decent against City in the Champions League, but obviously Big Ben are probably, when he's back on form, he is the best left back in world football when he's on form.
Yeah, he's a beast, and when he turns it on. And we've got a player out on loan at the moment, Sandler, for the Holland, the Dutch team. Does everyone know much about the Dutch national team when it comes to the defence? Can you see Sandler getting in?
No.
Van Dijk,
and De Ligt in it.
Yeah, I think he'd be a long way off getting those two the season. Well, mixed reviews from De Ligt apparently over in Serie A, but in terms of Van Dijk, he's a long shot off those two, for sure.
That Daley Blind, former United player, he's shot up in the Ajax team as well, hasn't he?
Actually, aren't they? They're quite strong in that side of things. So I'm looking at our midfield. I'm seeing internationals right across the board, and I'm going to leave what I think is going to be the best to last. So obviously we've got David Silva, who's retiring. That's done and dusted, isn't it, from that point of view? Yeah. We've got Fernandinho and Mahrez, who obviously aren't Europeans. So that doesn't really matter at this point. So we got Gundogan, 100%. We got Zinchenko, who has played fantastically well for his national team. We've got Rodrigo for Spain, De Bruyne for Belgium, Bernardo Silva for Portugal, and then we've got City's number 47, who David Silva goes and Phil Foden replaces him, this is the only thing. This is one of the reasons I brought this subject up, because he is going to gain so much from the Euros being moved to next year. It's unbelievable. Of all the players in our squad, he's the absolute catalyst for me for this question, and an absolute shoe-in for that English. I think he should be getting into it now. I think if you showed Gareth Southgate a YouTube clip of Phil Foden's highlights from the final, you'd be thinking, right, who can I take out to replace this lad?
Yeah.
Or am I just being biased there?
No, get him in over Henderson any day of the week. I don't know how Henderson gets in that England side. Don't rate that boy at all.
No. I don't think Henderson he naturally replaces. I mean, for me, you'd be looking at him stepping in instead of like a Dele Alli, James Maddison and Mason Mount. I think those are his real contenders. And especially Maddison and Mount, both young, both had really great seasons respectively. But in terms of performance of when he's been on the pitch, Phil Foden has outshone both of them in my eyes. Again, probably a bit of City bias showing there, but that's my opinion.
Love a bit of City bias on this show, mate. Don't we worry about that. So yeah, here's hoping Phil can stay injury-free and get a good run of games for next season, and we'll see where he can go. And obviously for the forward lineup, we've got Leroy Sané, if he's still going to be a Blue next season. Do you think? I mean, he's good enough to get in the Germany squad. Do you think he's going to be picked? Do you think he's settled his feud now with the management of Germany?
Yeah, when he's on song, Sané, he's unplayable, isn't he? So I can't see if he now gets a good, whatever it's going to be pre-season, whatever it's going to be at the end of this, he'll be in there.
Yeah, he's got to be on it. And obviously, Raheem Sterling is an absolute shoe-in, isn't he? Barring an absolute crisis, he's probably one of the first names on the plane going over there. But no, that's fine, cool. So, has anyone got anything to add from that? Can anyone else see any City academy players sneaking into our squad that's got a chance of getting on the plane with the Euros next year?
One thing I will say regarding Foden, though, Pep Guardiola's probably given him a little bit of a gem in terms of his game, because he's played the past few games now on the wing. And I think Gareth Southgate might be looking at as he might be a bit more versatile in different positions, which might give him more of a chance of getting in the squad.
Yeah, I personally don't particularly like him on the wing.
No, I don't.
But I mean, because when he came inside again against United, it changed it. And obviously Mahrez went out there. But then on the flip side against Villa in that position, he was very good. But yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. It does give him another option.
No, I'm happy with that.
I think Foden went to in his maturity as a player. If you take all his technical abilities out of there, I remember I saw him this season against Atalanta at home in the Champions League. And for a player at 18, 19 years old, 7 yards out one-on-one with the keeper, instead of trying to score and get the glory himself, get his name on the fans and stuff, he squares it to Sterling, who had the open net. And there's very few players that have that frame of mind, even the older ones. He's just got a maturity about him that I think outshines most other players at the minute at the England level.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope he doesn't turn into like that, the David Silva mould where David Silva doesn't shoot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah,
there's a few. Oh my days! I can't believe there was one game and he had like 3 or 4 shots just this season, or he didn't have, and he tried to pass it every time. I hope Foden has a little bit of oomph in him to take a shot on instead of trying. But when you're in that situation, yeah, if you know like Sterling's got an open goal, but just sometimes just take a shot,
Thing is, Foden can do it as well. I think it was at home against Zagreb in this Champions League. He was 1-on-1 with the keeper, and it's like Chris was saying, he's so calm and mature in front of goal, and he's slotted that pass like he's been playing for the past 10 years. So he's got it in his locker. He can be the De Bruyne style for me. He has the complete package. He can dribble, he can pass, he can shoot when needs to.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm if this season does kick off again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. For the rest of the games of the Premier League, I want to see Foden starting. I want to see Garcia starting. nothing to lose. We're 25 points behind. We're not going to win the league. Let's blood the youngsters through and let's focus on the Champions League. And that'd be, for me, I'd be made up if that could happen. I'm going to move on quickly for obvious reasons. So we've got a few bits to talk about, a few fan questions that came through on the Facebook page, but we're going to do a new feature next week, and I want a bit of homework for everybody. If anyone can make it onto the pod next week, I want to talk about a classic match. So we're going to have a rewind, and this one is, we're going to rewind back to 2004. It's an FA Cup 4th round replay. Any guesses what anyone's thinking yet?
Tottenham versus Man City.
Yeah. John Macken with a winner. So Tottenham Hotspur 3, Manchester City 4. Joey Barton gets sent off at half-time. City 3-0 down at half-time. What do? Typical City. Come back and win 4-3. Absolutely amazing night. Absolutely fantastic night at White Hart Lane. So that we're going to have a bit of a rewatch of that and a catch-up of that. And honestly, I'm really looking forward to it. You could probably tell by my voice, I'm smiling. I'm really looking forward to watching the highlights of that, because it was a proper City night. That was brilliant. So yeah, I'll send everyone a YouTube clip of that game. If everyone can jump on next week and have a review of it, I think we should. I think that'd be a good little feature.
Yeah, absolutely.
But a couple of fan questions before we knock this on the head, chaps. Ross Lapthorne said, although height isn't everything, is it an issue? I feel like we're missing a Zeko-esque height in the box. Thoughts? Who wants to lead with that chestnut?
Steve takes it.
Go on, Chris. What do you say, Bob?
So if it's for going forward, then definitely, because you need a plan B. And that's what made Dzeko so good. He just come off the bench, pump the ball up to him. The amount of times he got us out of some sticky situations. But then I always remember him playing the game against Tottenham, and he scored 4 goals. So you can, it just changes the tactics. It takes opponents off guard, and that's the one thing we're really missing. And if you think back through the year, even if you go back to the 90s, we had Gota and Dikov. Dikov would chase a paper bag if it had black spots on it, and then you had Gota who used any part of his anatomy to get the ball in the back of the net. And it's the one thing we're missing these days.
Yeah, bless him. Good old Sean Gota. Yeah. Love him or hate him. He knew where the net was, didn't he? Yeah, no. For me, I'd have a Zeko-esque player with an absolute heartbeat. Next question we had came in from Charles Denota, excuse me. Sane, do we know what's going on with him? Is he staying or what? Listen, Charles, if we knew that, we'd have the magic button, pal. I'd be playing the lottery every time it came on. We just don't know. I mean, the only positive I've got is Sane's been loads more vocal on social media over the last month or so. Last 6 weeks, he's seemed to be posting positive stuff out about City. I've heard fellow City players talking about him in a positive light, which I hope that means good things, but who knows? What do you guys think? Have you guys seen any snippets in social media that think he's going to stay or go?
Well, there's rumours with Mahrez being linked to PSG, so if it's a case of one of them has to go, I think we'd definitely be more inclined to keep Sané just because of the potential that he has, the longevity of his career that he has left. Maybe Mahrez has performed more consistently, especially this season. But if I had to choose between the two, I'd pick Sané over him any day.
Do you think there's what about a loyalty factor there, though, Adam? Mahrez is here now and he seems committed, but Sané is not committed, has he, for 4 or 5 months?
He's a young guy. I think it's no secret that him and Pep have definitely butted heads. Maybe it comes with age that he matures a little bit. He gets a little bit more grounded. Maybe that comes with it. I think he's right to be considering his options. He is one of the hottest prospects on his day in world football, and I think with time he'd settle down. I think he'd mature into the player he is, especially under a coach like Pep. And I'd have the faith in him to stick it out with us.
I love that. No, nice little end to it. That last question from Hamid Amir: should we go for Kane or Timo Werner?
Harry Kane.
Yeah. How about everyone else? Anyone else have a about that?
No, I'm not starting an argument with Steve again like I did on Sunday. That I would definitely not have Harry Kane, without a doubt. You know my views on that. But for me, if we were going to go sort of going back on the previous question with the height sort of thing, I'd go all out for Haaland. You know, if we're gonna get a player that's tall but close to this Pep style play, Haaland has to be it. Kane for me, and Steve's shaking his head. Kane for me, he just wouldn't fit into this City team. He's almost a non-team player in my eyes. When Harry Kane ended up playing a Spurs team, for me, Spurs play a lot better. When he's in that Spurs team, it's all great.
I'm going to have to support here, Steve here. I think this is for the first time in a while. Harry Kane's tried, tested England captain. Scores goals for fun. Haaland's not done it in England. Would you
done in 19.
With all Pep's players, can we afford to wait a year for Haaland to potentially get into the formation and tactical mindset of what Pep is? Whereas Harry Kane, no, he has to score goals in the Premier League. It's got to be Kane over Haaland.
Haaland's only just moved. So if people are saying that we're going to waste money on Kane, think how much Dortmund are going to want for him after, was it half a season? Yeah, he signed in January, didn't he? So
I think he's got a clause in his contract, so we get him for about 60 million.
I think Kane can adapt because he adapts to Southgate's way of playing, which is the same sort of style that Pep wants. And I think Kane can do it. If you want someone that's similar to having a scoring record like Aguero, Kane is there.
Harry Kane's 26.
His goal scoring record when he plays is ridiculous.
Steve, can I give you his record, mate? Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. Right, I'm gonna go for 2014-15. So the 15 season, 34 games, 21 goals. 15-16, 38 games, 25 goals. 16-17, 30 games, 29 goals. 17-18, 37 games, 30 goals. 2018-19, 28 games, 17 goals. I'm assuming there's an injury that year, wasn't the last year. And this year, 19-20, 20 games, 11 goals. So I think you know what? The only negative with that is there's obviously been a few injuries there that's niggled him to stop him getting the 20 goals from the last season. And I very much doubt he'll do it this season as well, looking at his record here. So, Steve, question back to you, pal. Now I've seen this is, do we think he's peaked?
No.
Think he's got more to come?
Yeah, if he goes under Pep, he'll have way more to come. I think he will. I think, Haaland's only doing it in the German league. We could go in the German league and bang in 15 goals each. Easy. Right? Kane's doing it for England. He's done it in the Champions League for a lot of seasons. He does it in the Premier League just by proving then. I bet if you compare it to Aguero's records for goals per season, I don't reckon he's that far off. I really don't. And I think, you're all saying about a plan B. Well, Dzeko wouldn't be able to adapt to Guardiola's game. That's well out of his. But I think Kane can because he does it with Southgate.
I need to see some statistics in front of me here. I'll post these on the page. I'll post them on the page for people to have a look at. We're going to wrap it up now, lads. But Dan, you weren't here for this. We've got a new little segment for Who Am I? Have you guys managed to have a think about this?
I've got to guess.
I've got it.
No answers just yet. So we'll let Dan have a go. No pressure here, pal. So this player, these are the teams this player's played for. Okay. Started off with Lincoln, then Newcastle, then Coventry, then Leeds, then City, then Norwich, and finished his career in the MLS at San Jose Earthquakes. So who thinks they've got it? Hands up if you think you got it. Well, go on then, you two. Can you have a guess, Dan? You two want to go first?
I'd make myself look stupid. Go on, new lad.
Can I, just before the two lads who are certain, can I put Darren Huckabee?
What do you think, lads?
Huckabee,
yeah, Darren Huckabee. Well done, you three. Yes, well done.
Yeah.
Darren Carl Huckabee, 43 now. Yeah, what an absolute He always reminded me of a speedboat down Huckabee. Loads of pace, but no direction. If you just took somebody off the wheel on a speedboat, all absolute pace, but absolutely no direction with it. But yeah, what a player he was. I don't know if you guys had a look at him. I think he was only here for 2 or 3 seasons or whatever it was, but he was one of the fastest players I've ever seen play for City. But yeah,
now in the silver away shirt, Nidos silver away shirt. I had 21 Huckabee on the back of it.
The silver away shirt. That one.
Yeah, it was a silver away shirt with the
that one there.
The sort of yellow and navy blue stripe. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Number 21 he was. He was an absolute star. He reminded me of a slightly taller Craig Bellamy.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see where you're going with that. Absolutely, yeah. Right, lads, we're going to wrap it up for the night. Thank you very much. We'll get this out soon. I hope everyone has a lovely evening. Stay safe, lads, and we'll talk next week.
Next week.
Best boys. See you later.
Bye.